I just got done watching day 2 of Honor Rising. So I watched the last 2 matches of day 1 and then the last match of day 2. So the first match, Shibata, Jay Lethal, Hangman Page and Cody Rhodes. I'll be honest, I was a bit down on Cody Rhodes after Wrestle Kingdom 11. He didn't do a whole lot, but in this match he was phenomenal, worked incredibly well with Shibata, and Jay Lethal and Hangman Page are both incredibly underrated. And then it was the Briscoes against Adam Cole and Kenny Omega. So the big things about this match were Kenny coming back for his first match, which was great to see, and then there was like the tension between Adam Cole and Kenny Omega. Now the reason I didn't really like that is because there's no obvious person to root for in this scenario. I mean, maybe they want to keep it that way. They seem to enjoy being ambiguous, but it feels as though we were meant to boo Cole more than Kenny, which I can understand apart from the fact that Adam Cole was really, really funny in that match. The inopportune Adam Cole Bebe chants. There was nothing obviously for them to be upset with each other about. It kind of just came out of the blue at the end. But apart from that, it was a really, really good match. There was one particular spot, a suicide dive from Jay Briscoe, I think, which was pretty devastating. Looked really, really sore. And then this morning I watched live the day 2 main event, and I don't think I've ever smiled or laughed as much during a match ever. The Young Bucks antics obviously are hilarious, but Cody and Kenny were getting in on it. The give me a boot that ended up with 6 boots, that was amazing. Ospreay being super kicked off the apron, then back onto the apron, then off the apron. Okada getting in on the suck it. There were just so many brilliant moments in this match, and it completely turned the babyface heel dynamic on its head, which was absolutely the intention of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. They love to do things like that. After the match, they went as far as to say, what is heel, what is babyface. They completely broke the fourth wall because they're trying to help wrestling evolve into something different. So I really liked everything that I saw, but I'm just curious as to where it's going. Pretty much everyone has looked at the possibility of the Elite splitting off from the Bullet Club, and with Adam Cole taking a sort of leadership role, that seemed more and more likely, especially when he starts fighting with Kenny. But then you have to add to it the fact that Cody Rhodes seems really popular and seems to get along with the Elite. He almost seems like a better fit for a 4th member than Adam Cole ever did. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm hoping that Kenny and Cody at least are in the New Japan Cup. It seems like a Bullet Club resurgence at the top, not necessarily further down. It seems like kind of business as usual with Takahashi and Bad Luck Fale. But either way, I'm excited, and those 2 shows, at least in the main events, were definitely worth the New Japan World subscription. So this is my training notes from Wednesday. Today's Friday. I've come home for the weekend. So I went out to Livingston on Wednesday, had an afternoon session from 1 till 3, and it was the first time I've been out that early, and I think it just suits me better because if I know I'm doing something later in the afternoon or in the evening, I kind of obsess about it all day and don't really get a lot done. It was just Douglas and I, which again is the first time that it's just been me and one trainer. So when I got in, I got into the ring and started doing rolls, which that's a new thing for me to do. Usually I'd stand around waiting to be told what to do, but to get in and just start doing rolls made me feel a lot more confident just to get moving and get doing something, and also has the added benefit of sort of dissuading him to make me do fitness. So I did some rolls. I've always had a problem rolling, doing the commando roll. I'd always try and come up on 2 feet, but after a few goes, I was really getting used to tucking one knee, just making it a lot easier to get up. And then something I have a lot of trouble with is the lucha roll, where you're supposed to dive, extend your body, land on your hands, and then tuck your body into a roll. I struggle with that because I don't trust my arms to support my gangly body. Also, I don't trust myself to be able to tuck in time. Douglas, with most of these things, just says trust your body, but it's easier said than done. So we did do a bit of fitness, running ropes for, I think it was just about 60 seconds. Sufficiently tired me out, as every fitness drill does. And then we went into up and overs, which is running to the turnbuckle, lifting yourself up. I've done before lifting myself up, pushing myself back into the ring, but this was lifting myself up and then moving over the ropes onto the apron. So naturally it's a lot more intimidating because you're moving out of the ring where it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of space, but there actually is. So struggled with it the first couple of times going in and out of the ring. But once I'd done it a few times, we went into some bumps, back bump and flip bump, which I'm completely fine with once I've done, one or two. So we took the back bump and the flip bump and did the British International, which is being whipped to the far turnbuckle, stepping up, coming back, hitting the stomach, snap mared, getting up and taking a shoulder bump. Then it's a drop down leapfrog hip toss, which is sort of most of the American International. We tried a few variations. One was getting straight back up after the shoulder tackle, just looks a bit more realistic, getting straight up, then going down for the sleep, then the leap, then the hip toss. Another variation we tried just for the hell of it was me doing a full flip rotation in the hip toss, which I sort of landed. We only tried it once. I landed quite awkwardly. Then we tried another variation with it would be drop down leapfrog, and then I would go in for an elbow. He would duck it, grab my left arm, throw me to a turnbuckle where I'd jump to the outside. He'd hit the turnbuckle, come around, I'd shoulder tackle him from the outside, and then do a sunset flip over him. So I've done sunset flips inside the ring before, and they're completely fine. Seems like a natural enough movement, jumping over, hooking the leg. But from the apron, slingshotting yourself in is a lot scarier for some reason. So I struggled with it the first couple of times. I was scared to just land on him and then collapse. But funnily enough, when we did the full sequence, everything just was smooth as butter. And that ended up being the last thing we did. So it was 2 hours of training. So the problem with going to a full training session is obviously you don't get the one-on-one training. But the downside is I am the only one doing anything, so you don't really get a break. So we kind of just make breaks in the middle rather than doing a full training session. So although we didn't get a whole lot done in 2 hours, it was still a very encouraging session just to know that I can go in a one-on-one situation and learn. So as well as that, I had another 2 hour gym session beforehand. So I think after week 2, I think the counters are up to 4 hours gym, 2 hours wrestling training.